Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Coby Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening. This is Dr. Curry.
This is Coby Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Well, Coby, we had the pleasure of really enjoying several weeks of no real gun violence in the city of Wilmington. It seems like this week things just went all haywire. We have 4 reported shootings. Something occurred last night we're not too sure about yet, which would have been Thursday night. But there was one murder in the city, and I want to really go through all of them just so that we can let the people know what's going on or what we know thus far. 30th and Market Street, it made Philadelphia news, made a couple of local surrounding communities news. Tell me what you know about that.
Yeah, so 30th Street, it happened at the Sunoco gas station. It's in the 1st District. It's an area that I drive past almost every single day trying to get to work, going from Northside to downtown Wilmington. Anyone who knows the area still calls it the Getty. And it happened before 3 p.m. So the real concern there is a few things, right? So kids are getting off the bus around that time, getting out of school. There's about 3 different buses that drop off in that area in which kids would be out and about around that time. Then there's also a daycare on the backside of that building. There's a daycare facility there as well, too. So it's very concerning that a shooting took place there. From my understanding, and I think they reported out, it was a 23-year-old man who was taken to the hospital in stable condition. So I am grateful that he's in stable condition, but this is just too close to where too many young children are actively going to be at, and where they're, a daycare as well too. Yeah. That's just sad.
And it wasn't that, it's like, it's hard to predict. Now, when you talked about that 3 o'clock time, that shocked me because you're right. Anyone could have gotten it. We know this is targeted though, but bullets have no discrimination. When they start flying, they start flying. And with the daycare being there, with the community being impacted, as many people in that location, it's a lot of concerns that I would have. Do you see normally cops in that area rotating?
Every now and then.
Okay.
You'll see 1 or 2 just riding past, but that's pretty much it. They usually sit further down on like 23rd, 24th Street, down in that area. Again, like you said, bullets do not discriminate. Right. There was multiple shots fired. The little markers were all everywhere. And again, this made regional news. This, was all over. On top of another shooting happened, this also made huge news as well too. So again, it's just very concerning.
Yeah, and I just hope that whatever is going on, do you think that it could be related to gang or just people?
It's some ongoing gang stuff in the area. Okay. So that is a high likelihood that it could be related. But either way, the fact that this area has been having so much issues with violence recently, and most of it's not going reported or it's not making it truly into the police reports, you have to do something different.
Yeah. So the question is, that have your representative for your city council been making a bigger push to the police department or to the residents about their safety?
No, he's only worried about getting his project done. That is 17 houses that are going to cost $350,000.
A piece?
A piece that he considers affordable.
Oh, okay.
No backyard, no front yard, townhomes.
And it's affordable. Okay, I understand. Well, then there was also another young man who was critically wounded in Wilmington shooting. That was last Thursday, the Thursday before last. And he was he was 18. Tell me a little bit about that. And that was another one that happened around the 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I'm just...
Yeah, so again, these shootings are happening back to back to back. And again, that happened on West 2nd Street.
Yes.
And again, there has been very little information given out about what truly happened with that incident, which is concerning because that 18-year-old age range, right, is a targeted population here in the city when it comes to the violence. But then also, we need to know, are our communities safe? Kids are just going back to school.
Right.
And if there needs to be concern, if there needs to be extra parents out there to make sure their kids are safe and everything, parents will make sure their kids are safe.
Absolutely.
They will do what they have to do, whether it's taking an extra 30 minutes off of their, or adding on to their lunch break or whatsoever. But there has to be transparency on the administration side, on the police force side, to let individuals know what is truly going on and how we can help.
Yeah. Now, what really bothered me when I got more of the street information about this person was up close and they shot him in his head.
Yeah.
Thank God, that bullet obviously did not penetrate any of the brain parts. But for him to be, even though he was critical at one point, I think now he's understable. But this person it wasn't like a random, that person was up close and they shot him. And I don't know. Again, I'm asking the same question. Is this gang related?
It seems like an execution.
Yeah.
Almost like that's what they were targeting. And again, it was during that key time, right? Right after 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That is very bold. And I think individuals are feeling more empowered to do things like this during that time range because they know there's no consequences.
Wow.
They know that we have one of the lowest case solving rates in the whole area. So again, I'm glad the young man is alive, but it's very concerning the time that this is taking place now. Not saying any time is right.
If I understand what you're saying, and I would like to know what now that he's alive, then if a person that could be up close and to shoot him the way they did, he should know who that person is. And the question is whether or not he would talk, given how low we solve crime and things of that nature.
With a shooting like this, right? And I don't know too much about it, but with a shooting like this, an individual may have brain damage. So while they may be stable,
I got you.
They may be nonverbal. They may, stable could mean you're in a coma, but your vitals are stable. So you just got to continue to pray.
Yeah. Now, do you think people would, let's say if he could talk, do you think that given the climate that we're in, with the low level of being able to solve some of the crimes that we have, you think he would talk or do you think he would not?
I think he wouldn't.
Okay.
Because people have tried to work with the police in the past and have been, their names have been used and put their own lives in danger. We have to rebuild that trust. And once we do that, we will be able to solve more crimes. We'll be able to give family the justice that they deserve of knowing what happened to their loved ones when we do lose loved ones. So again, a lot has to change in order to make people more comfortable with talking to the police.
Yeah. And there was another one. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the man who was shot to death, 28-year-old. And I think that's something that, it made more than just it made regional news for that one. But we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Can we trust Bethany Hall Long? Her record of scandals is clear. No, we can't. Hall Long funneled hundreds of thousands of campaign dollars to her husband and refused to turn over an audit of her finances to the State Board of Elections. She's accepted tens of thousands of dollars of illegal donations. Now she wants us to elect her governor? I know what my answer is. It's time for a new Delaware way, not the same old politicians.
The world looks a whole lot different depending on where you stand.
Sure does.
From growing up in Wilmington to serving as a diplomat in a country devastated by war, starting 2 small businesses that created jobs, and teaching middle school math in neighborhoods that are too often overlooked and left behind. I'm Matt Meyer, and no matter where I stood, if something was broken, I've always tried to make it better. So when the insider said I had no shot against a 12-year incumbent, I ran for Newcastle County Executive anyway.
Gotta love an underdog.
Knocking on nearly 10,000 doors because our county looks different depending on where you stand, too.
Hey, Mr. Meyer, in our classroom, you always made us show our work.
We put the county checkbook online in the first 6 months to show where your tax dollars are going. We are making our county cleaner and greener, investing in early childhood and mental health services. Started 1,000 Kids Coding to give low-income students high-income skills. And we created the Hope Center, helping thousands of people get off the streets and into homes.
Now, as too many families struggle with the rising costs of housing and health care, too many communities go without clean air and clean water.
And our schools rank 46th in the nation. I know we can do better, because we should be a state where every kid gets a great education, where every family has a safe neighborhood they can afford to call home, and every woman makes decisions about her own body.
You got that right.
I'm Matt Meyer, and I'm running for governor, so that no matter where you stand, we can all see a brighter future.
Don't forget the website.
Hello, I'm Marcus Henry, and I'm running for Newcastle County Executive. I spent over 20 years working in state and local government, trying to bring the good programs and services you deserve here in Newcastle County. Please support my campaign. Please look us up at marcushenryde.com for further information. I look forward to meeting you all over the next year, and I look forward to your support. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Coby Owens, and I'm running for the Democratic nomination for the City Council 1st District right here in Wilmington. I am running on a platform of addressing our affordable housing crisis, making sure we're helping both homeowners and renters both live in this city, live in safe and affordable housing. I'm running on a platform to address affordable housing, but also looking at quality of life issues, making sure that our street signs are up, our streets are fit, our sidewalks aren't cracked, and making sure our communities are safer for everyone. And lastly, I am running on a sustainable development and economic growth platform, one that makes sure we're investing into our neighborhoods, and our best investment that we can make is investing into our youth, making sure that we are preparing them for our future, and then lastly, expanding senior programming to make sure that they continue to age in place right here in the 1st District, in the city of Wilmington. I'm doing this for y'all. Vote for Coby Owens.
And we're back. Well, as we're talking about these these shootings and gun violence that's in the city, just last Saturday, not yesterday, but last Saturday, there was a 28-year-old man who was gunned down in Wilmington early in the morning. What do you know about that?
So officers found him around 1:48 in the morning on the 100 block of Southwest Street. That's down by almost like Docklands area,
Okay.
you know, the riverfront area.
Mm-hmm.
Found him shot. Apparently there were shots fired. Individuals heard it. I guess partygoers heard it as well too. It was not associated with Docklands, but the individual ended up passing away due to their injuries after they were taken to the hospital. Other than that, there's been no further details other than the name of the individual that's been released, which means they got in contact with the family. But other than that, no information is about where they're in an investigation or if they have any evidence.
You know, and this is really interesting because some of the things that we're talking about today it's like we're sharing with the community, and some of them are aware of some of these, some of them are not aware. But the level of transparency is really concerning to me, and it has always been. It's not about giving out too much information where you're giving away evidence that will convict a person, but to let the community know that, hey, we had a shooting here, we had this going on. It's so important to me because when people are sending their children to school, when people are walking the streets, they need to know what areas considered to be very high risk and things of that nature. And I just don't understand why, whether it be the administration, whether it be the police department, whoever, why is it that this has to be hid? This person died, and their family, I'm sure, is grieving his loss. But this happened, you know, even though it was 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning, it happened.
Yeah,
and not to because I didn't really see much on this.
No, I haven't. So outside of 302 Steppers, which is an Instagram page that posts things that happen in the city. They posted about it, and it was just, you know, a statement saying that someone had been shot. I would have never known about it. I did not see it on the news, and it didn't come out until a few days later that something had actually happened down there. So again, it's just very concerning about the transparency. There's different blueprints that this city can use and this police department can use, in which they come out and give press release and give press conferences about shootings that are happening, just for the transparency for the community. Washington, D.C. does it. Philadelphia does it. New York does it. Is that going to stop all the crime? No, but it's not to stop crime. It's to inform the community of what's going on.
And I just don't understand why people feel, why certain administrators, why people just don't feel that it's important to educate the community on what is happening. But I guess because the narrative is that we're the safest in the country, that if you were to share the truth, then it would then change the whole trajectory of the narrative. I don't get it. One last one, Coby, and that is the 39-year-old was critically wounded on the 800 block of North Monroe Street. What district is that?
That is the 4th district. Okay. 4th or 5th district is by the line. But again, that was later in the night, 11:15, around 11:15. The police found him. Again, he was critically wounded, but he is still alive as of right now. There's no additional information. But again, this all happened in a week, right? Yeah. So you have one who's dead, 2 in critical condition, and 1 in stable condition. And no information has really been released on any of them other than just where the incident happened, what time they found them, and what health condition they're in.
Yeah, and then not even how they found them or why, what led them to find them. Right. Because that also, speaks to they were doing their paroles or they heard shots, things of that nature, and it's just too much mystery. And I think that's why I took the time today to just talk about it, because it's just a cloud of mystery of what's happening in our city. Violence is not where it needs to be. And I know when we had certain people who were in charge of City Hall, they would immediately label it as, murder city and things of that nature. Right. But then when it became others, it's like hush, hush, and don't worry about it. But for those of you who watch us every week, it's important that you talk to your council people. They need to become more transparent. If next door to you something is happening, you need to be aware of it, because you don't want to blindly walk into something that's going to cause your family to be disrupted. And I think that's why I believe if I know what's going on in my surroundings, it's not that I will change it or stop it, but I'll be able to be aware so that I won't blindly go into things. It's just really interesting. For the next few moments we have in this this segment, I want to turn our attention to the election day, which is now 2 days away.
Yes.
And today we're wearing our Coby shirts, and I'm very much in with Coby. So for those of you who are watching us, please note that I am very much in with Coby, because I think that he does a very good job with bringing you information. And imagine how much more he's going to bring you to be able to sit in the seat and understand the details of the council. But we have several people who are running, and we're going to do an analysis on next Sunday, the results of it. And I'm still not comfortable with what the Democratic Party did by endorsing a candidate for governor. And to my understanding, they endorsed several candidates. But I'm really concerned that it's about the establishment versus the grassroots. And when we do our analysis, and when I do it on next week, I'm really going to look at the results. Is Wilmington, is Delaware strongly establishment because someone tells you this is what way we need to go, this is the way we're going to go, or are we really a grassroots state, city, county? Because that is going to be important. The establishment knows who they want. People are in line to do certain things, and whether they're good or bad, whether they got a lot of scandal or not. And I'm concerned about that. But then we have some grassroots individuals who really there for the community, who has been very, very supportive, who put their lives on the line to help others, such as yourself and many others. And do they get a chance to serve in public office so that we can have more, is what we're going to really look at on next week. And right now we're looking at the governor's race. I've been seeing commercial after commercial of both of them. Even on our show, I've been seeing commercial after commercial. And I don't know, have you got any, they don't do polls here, and that's what I don't understand.
So they do, there's been some polls done, especially in the bigger statewide races. And the reason why you don't see polls in smaller races is because they cost so much.
Okay.
These polls, to have a high quality data oriented poll, you're spending about $30,000 to $40,000 per poll, right? And you're only really talking to maybe 600, 700 people. So that's a lot of money to burn. And most campaigns don't have that type of money. I can tell you that right now.
Especially when you announce how glad you were to raise 10,000.
Right. So there has been maybe about 6 or 7 polls done now in the governor's race, because those 3 candidates all have over $800,000 raised since they've been running, right? So they have the money to burn on things like that. In the most recent polls, it has shown that County Exec Myers is up. The first poll done, it showed Bethany had almost a 20-point lead. Then the next one shows she had like a 17-point lead. And now it shows that Matt has almost a 7-point lead himself, with Bethany trailing. Colin O'Mare, his momentum is picking up as well too. But I don't think in any of the polls it showed him in second place yet. So again, most of the polls are now showing that Matt has a small advantage. So again, you can read into it as much as you want. I know with polls, you can do the best you can, but sometimes you only get certain people who actually will say, answer the phone, but then answer the phone and take like a 15-minute phone call asking questions and everything. So again, you may not always get the most reflective of the true voting base, but there are now a few polls that show Matt is ahead of Bethany.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting because, again, I would have been fine, but one of the egregious mistakes of the Democratic Party is that they endorsed. And I know you shared how she asked for them, he did not. But I think if we're going to bring this big tent together, this is just my belief. If we're going to bring this big tent together, we need to wait until after the first round. Because if we are going to endorse people during primaries, if that person loses, what happens then?
So we have 2 months. We have 2 months to try to bring everyone together. And like I said, I've been very honest about my stance with endorsing. I don't think we should be endorsing in primaries. And I said it when we were in that meeting. I've said it multiple times. I've said it leading up to that as well, too. We do it every 2 years. I say we shouldn't be involved unless there's a extreme case, right? But again, most of the time I am either going to vote neutral or vote to abstain. They pretty much mean the same thing. It's just whatever word I use in the moment when I'm thinking, because sometimes I get going, I get passionate. If the person not endorsed wins, they have every right to be upset and hold a grudge. Why do I know this and why do I say this? Because this has already happened. They endorsed John Carney in 2008, and Jack Markell won.
That's right.
Right? You had a sitting lieutenant governor versus a sitting treasurer. Both have been paying in to the party. Both have been active members of the party, and you picked one over the other. Therefore, Markell did not have the best relationship with the party when he was governor, right? And the governor is supposed to be the head of the party, the de facto head of the party here in the state. So again, when you have fraction on that end, that just creates more issues. So again, this is why I say we should stay neutral in decisions like that.
Yeah, and it's funny because even there are some races that I decided I like a certain candidate a little bit more, but I had to be careful because the people who advised me had shared with me that you need to be careful given to some of the people I'm trying to support and help. And especially the voiceless communities that I speak for. And they were saying, don't endorse right now. Let's just stay neutral, but you can show your support in many different other ways. I think the Democratic Party needs to learn that you don't always need to jump in the front, because when that happened in 2008, And I was on the Jack Markell bandwagon, to be very honest with you. And it was several other people were. And he worked very hard. But this is not the first time. Even when Matt Myers ran against, who was the other executive? He was a good friend. We were really cool. Tom Gordon. That's right. And I was very good friends with Tom Gordon, and still is very good friends with Tom Gordon. And I was supporting Tom Gordon at the time. And Matt ran, and a lot of people were very upset, and they were very concerned. But he ran, and he won. I hope that this happens again. Now, I know there are many people who I admire deeply and I like deeply who are not supporting Matt Myers, but I am very much supporting him. I've watched what he did in the county. He's not been perfect, but there has not been a perfect candidate for any of these offices. But what I want to make sure is that I'm watching what is happening within our communities. This establishment belief that because you are in this position, you got to get the next position, the scandals that have occurred, the unaccountability of certain things, it troubles me. And while I'm never going to ask you, you're in the midst of a heavy race yourself. I don't want people to be saying, well, he said this and he said the other. Really, it's Dr. Curry that's talking right now. And I'm just concerned with the Democratic Party that they endorse someone they had no business because they're supposed to be representing us. All of us who are Democrats, which meant when this election is over, that's why we have a primary. When this primary is over, then whoever is standing, they need to give their full support to that person or persons. To have a division in our camp is not good. And I hope that Matt wins so that he can show that we should never, ever do that again. That's why on next Sunday, we're going to talk about the establishment versus the grassroots, because I think that's going to really set the tone. And it's also going to help us to say we need to tell some people they need to resign from the Democratic Party. I'm going to be saying those things because they are just continuously perpetuating this division and acting like they're coming in the spirit of unity. Unity is bringing people together. Division is when you're taking them apart. And right now it appears that, their whole goal is to make sure that certain people win based on what has been said. But I'm just hoping that Matt is out there working like can I say that? I don't know if I can say that, but he's out there working hard and he's everywhere you can find. And I see his signs more than just in Wilmington. So I'm hoping that those of you who are watching, please don't follow along because certain people you like, I decided to support a certain candidate. There are people I respect highly. They are now deciding to go with the other candidate. Fine. I decided I'm going to go with Matt because I feel that he's done a whole lot for the community, especially Newcastle County. And when you start talking about Wilmington, there's much he can tell you for himself, but I can tell you he's done to support this community. And I'm just with him. I'm sorry. So if that means I can't get you to come visit me on a Sunday morning, I apologize. Maybe we'll just pray about it and you'll see it another time. But let's get ready for this election. Last thing I want to talk about is were there anything for the mayor's race? Were there any polls or anything done for the mayor's race?
So there wasn't any polls done for the mayor's race, unfortunately. Any true polls done. People have made their predictions. I wish there was, but unfortunately not.
Because I'm really, that's going to be an interesting race. And next week when we talk of the governor's race and the mayor's race are the two I'm really going to be talking a lot about. The city council race I am too. I share with you all, Tish Bracey, Wayna Dobson, Alex Hackett, Coby. I'm with those council members 100%. But I'm it's going to, and I'm also with my councilman district, Michelle Harding. I'm with her as well, but she doesn't have anybody running against her. So I know she'll do well in her race. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in this governor and in this city of mayor race, because this is going to be an interesting race. And I'm going to be up all night. I'm going to be up all night until y'all get y'all numbers together and it all comes out. And I'm going to be ready for that show. So I hope you come ready because you do all the talking, but I'm going to be doing a lot of it as well at that time. We'll be right back.
Greetings, I'm Representative Sherry Dorsey Walker of the 3rd District, and I am running for Lieutenant Governor for the state of Delaware. I have previously served on the Wilmington City Council. I served on the Board of Parole, and I am in my 6th year, my 3rd term as a state representative, and I am seeking your vote on September 10th, 2024, to be your next Lieutenant Governor. I believe I am uniquely qualified for this position. Please consider voting for me on September 10th, 2024. You can also become involved with the campaign by going to my website, www.sherry, spelled SHERRY, Dorsey, DORSEY, Walker, WALKER, that's SherryDorseyWalker.com, and you're welcome to make a contribution. Sign up to volunteer, host a party, join us for parades. But please consider voting for me on September 10th, 2024, to be your next Lieutenant Governor. May God bless you and continue to be a shining light in your life.
And we're back. Well, Brother Coby, what's going on with Coby's Corner?
Yeah, so one, I want to start talking about voting, right? Something I've talked about quite often, but I want to circle back to something. So a few months ago, there was a lawsuit filed by the ACLU stating that there should be in-person ballot access for incarcerated voters, and especially individuals who are on pretrials, which means they have not been convicted in anything, but they are sitting in a prison because they cannot pay bail to get out, right? They did this on a premise that this is violating their constitutional rights. Well, unfortunately, the U.S. District Court rejected this claim, but said that Delaware is already guaranteeing a method of voting for them through the absentee ballots. Now, it remained intact, and is outlined in our state constitution how to use the absentee ballots, but has not listed a reason on that ballot for requesting it, as a person is incarcerated, a person's in prison, or whatever they want to say it, as a valid reason to request one of those ballots. So that's kind of what led to this lawsuit. And again, it was dismissed due to lack of standing, in part because the Department of Elections argued incarceration falls under a permissible excuse of nature of business or occupation. I never knew that getting arrested was occupation or your business. But now they're saying that individuals can check that box at least, and it would allow them to go ahead and get their absentee ballots. Now, it's too late for this primary cycle to do that, but for the general, if you know individuals who are incarcerated, this would be a great opportunity for them to be able to go ahead and get their ballots as they're still fighting their case. But again, the overall goal of this was making sure you're protecting eligible voters from disenfranchisement. So again, I know the ACLU, they're working with a bunch of other organizations, are still planning to advocate for in-person options and for incarcerated individuals. The Delaware Department of Justice vowed not to prosecute any eligible voters voting in the 2024 election until after November, so that as a result of this litigation, so that there's no, someone already voted, then they're charged with something. So again, this is where we're at right now with voting in prisons in Delaware. This is a national push as well, too, to make sure that there's polling sites inside the prisons for individuals who are on pretrial. And that is something that is extremely important. And that's why we have to make sure that whoever's the next governor, the next General Assembly, whatever it looks like, we have to make sure we're working with them to change our state constitution and making sure that we get those 2 additional votes so that we can have a supermajority to pass constitutional amendments to go ahead and get stuff like this done. So we have some work to do, but at the end of the day, it takes people getting involved, the grassroots people getting involved and speaking up and speaking to their elected officials on why this is so important.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that that people will stand up and realize that people's rights are being infringed, and because they don't have the voice, because it's something that will be pending, they tend to always be discredited. But I'm glad to know that there are people who are interested in supporting them.
Yeah. And then again, we are 2 days away from Election Day.
Yeah.
This is one of the most important elections in Delaware state history. We have a ton of people throughout the state running for different positions. We talked about governor already. We have an open Senate, open U.S. House, open governor, lieutenant governor, county exec, county council president, mayor. You have all these executive positions being open at the same time. It is huge. Delaware is a blue-leaning state, which means most likely whoever wins the Democratic primary will win in November. So this is our time to make our voices really heard and let people know what direction you want to see this state, this county, this city go in. So again, I encourage everyone who's watching right now, not Monday, but Tuesday, make sure you call, you send a text message, send an email to 5-10 people, reminding them that today is election day, and please, please, please go out and vote. Polling sites will be regular polling sites. You should have gotten your voting cards that if your polling site did change, it would say it on there where you have to go. But again, please make sure you're letting people know to go out and vote. This election is so critical. It means so much to so many people. And then we also have to think about the next generation. Whenever you have a new governor, you have a new lieutenant governor, new General Assembly, our education system is one of the worst in the nation. We compete with Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama as the top or the bottom 5 in this entire nation. So again, we want to make sure that whoever is going to be our next governor, our next General Assembly representatives or senators, our next lieutenant governor, that they have a focus on our youth, because we are doing them a disservice. We're in the top, I think, 15 in spending per student, but we're not getting the results. It's not just about throwing money at the issue. It's about having a plan, a structured plan on how to fix our education system. We have good teachers, but we need to fix our education system. We cannot just teach for a test. So again, this is our opportunity to change some things. And then of course, your day-to-day life is impacted the most by city council if you live in the city of Wilmington, or county council if you live in a county. So making sure you get involved in the races that are there. There's a ton of races here in the city of Wilmington. There's about 4 or 5 in the county. Everyone can vote for county exec who lives in Newcastle County, county council president, as well as an at-large position. And then everyone in the city of Wilmington can also vote for mayor. You have at-large individuals as well. So again, you have a few additional people. And then if you live in some of the districts, the 1st district, the 2nd district, the 3rd district, the 5th district, the 7th district, you also have a district person running as well too. So you have one additional person on your ballot. So please make sure you go from the very top to the very bottom. If you are a registered Democrat, you can look further than just that first line, because your whole ticket is Democrat, but they just put the names off to the side. So if it's a bigger field, you may have to look over 2 or 3 boxes. If you live in a 1st district, I'm in the 2nd box, the 2nd column. You have the position, my opponent, and then you have me. So make sure you hit that 2nd box for Coby Owens for 1st District City Council. And again, this election means so much to so many people. We can make our voice heard. We should make our voice heard, and we should make it heard as a collective. And it's so important.
Yeah, you said the second box, huh?
The second
so
box.
So if I'm got my ballot, I see city council, it'll say first district.
Yes.
And then when I see first district, I'll see a name, and then I'll see another name, and that name will be your name.
Yes.
And then is the one next to yours?
Yes.
So you're in the middle.
So I'm in the middle.
All right.
I'm in the middle.
So you're in the middle. So we want to make sure people are not just click.
Yes.
But you want to make sure that people are click. Okay, let me make sure I got Coby there and click and do whatever they got to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very important, Coby. And I want to take this opportunity to thank you. We get ready to. I'm going to do a commentary when for the end of this show today, and I don't want you to be here because I just really want to make sure that you're not being aligned with or said to have said something that maybe I'm saying. Coby, FOP have done all they could to try to stop you in many different ways. I hope and trust those of you who are watching us today will please find some time. If you have not already voted, please make sure on Tuesday, November the 10th, which is really 2 days from now, why don't you make sure you and 10 other people go and vote? Let somebody ride with you in your car, walk with somebody. We always need to get that exercise in. I'm praying that it's a nice sunny day. Let's not allow the people at the polls who you've not seen all year long to convince you to vote for them. Let's not allow the fish sandwiches that were given to be your reason. It's time to learn how to fish. It's time to do things for yourself. James Brown made a statement. He said, you don't have to open the, what did he say? You don't have to let me in, open the door, and I'll go in myself. Which one was very good with that? Jay was very good with those. But I just hope that you will certainly support Brother Coby. I want to give every piece of support that I can to show him that I'm very much behind him because he's been here for us. And he's been that voice in a lot of rooms where people despise him. They hate him because he continues to bring justice for those who are oppressed and suppressed and even depressed. So I hope that you will support him, and I'm giving you 100% of my support in any way. And I'm going to be wearing your shirt on Tuesday. I'm going to go around to the polls, making sure I see my members, making sure they out there voting, because I want to tell them, did you vote? Because if you don't vote, you don't have a right to even talk. That's how I look at it. Look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I'm going to come back with a few words of closing today. We'll be right back.
Greetings. I am Wayna Dobson, your candidate for Wilmington City Council at Large. I have served our community and constituents for over 35 plus years. And in doing so, I decided that I would run. I want to be an advocate, continue being an advocate for constituents and those in the community. I want to be a listening ear and get a resolve done for you. You are important to me, and that's why I am running. So I am asking that on September the 10th that you vote for me, Wayna Dobson, Wilmington City Council at Large.
I want to be a butterfly.
I want my parents to forget they grounded me.
I want to create receipts to cover up all the money I paid to myself and my husband.
That's not how it works when you break the law, Bethany. Hundreds of thousands of campaign dollars improperly paid to personal accounts? It's time to get Bethany Hall Long out of Fantasyland and out of office.
I'm Alexander Hackett, and I'm running for City Council at Large for the city of Wilmington. And as always, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Wilmington, I see you at the primary, September 10th, 2024. Vote Alexander Hackett, all right?
Hello, Wilmington. I am Michelle Harley, and I represent the 4th Councilmatic District. The communities in the 4th District are Southbridge, the Riverfront, Midtown Brandywine, Trinity Vicinity, and a portion of the East Side. I am running for my re-election on Tuesday, September the 10th for the 4th District City Council seat, and I would love for you to donate and to consider volunteering. To learn more about what I am doing and what I plan to do, you can visit my website at www.michelleharley.com. Together, we can move the 4th District forward. Thank you.
How you guys doing today? My name is Brandon Snow. I'm president of Southbridge Civic Association. I've been a long-term resident of Southbridge. For those who don't know, my grandfather was Willie Snow. We had Snow's store on B and Hill, which was a long-standing staple in the community. I'm here as the new civic president to pledge my transparency and see the growth and prosperity of our community going forward. For those who need to reach me, feel free to reach out to me via email. It is southbridgecivicassociationde@gmail.com. And if you need to reach me by phone, feel free to reach out as well. I can be reached at 302-363-4788. Thank you.
And we're back. I want to take this opportunity to thank those of you who watch us every week. As a person who really want to bring voice to the voiceless, as a person who have not indulged in running for any offices at all other than running for the Lord and continuing the fight and the quest that the Lord has assigned to my hands. And as a part of that assignment is to help those who are marginalized, to help those who are hurting, to help those who have been disenfranchised. I want to thank you for watching us every week. This election is critical. I am very, very disturbed with the Democratic Party. I know they could care less what I have to say, but they would care better if they knew you sent the message. What they did was wrong. It's not because, I'm supporting Matt Myers or I'm supporting certain candidates that they weren't against. It's really because they don't have a right to take all the resources that we who are Democrats have given them and throw it behind certain candidates. The level of scandals, the level of disenfranchisement that some of these candidates have certainly given, especially to the African-American community, and they allow certain people in our community to push their agenda so that we who respect certain people will fall in and just go along. It has to stop. Your vote matters. In a state as small as Delaware, your vote matters. And you have to start executing what you believe. My daughter, I will never forget this. One time we were going into the election box because she's not old enough to vote yet, but I allow her to participate with me to get her in the practice form, and I allow her to pick names. And when we are in that booth, she'll ask me questions like, well, Daddy, you're supporting X, Y, and Z. Why are you supporting this person? And I would tell her my reasons. I never will forget, I'm not going to say the candidate, but it was a candidate I was supporting. And I told her my reason. She said, Daddy, I don't think that's a good reason. I said, what do you mean you don't think it's a good reason? She began to tell me, now she was only, at that time, she was only 8 years old. But she began to tell me, she said, well, Daddy, you can't vote for a person because they did this. Isn't that what they're supposed to do? And I started thinking about it, and I decided not to even vote for the person or anyone in that level, because it was one of the people that it was just there, and I had to vote for someone. Let's start leaving the boxes blank. And let's start voting for people who you know want to make a difference for the community which you live in. This race for mayor is very much important. The race for governor is very much important. The race for city council is very much important. I don't want to discount the county exec, the level of work that Matt Myers have done, and what is getting ready to keep that trend going is very important. And then you got the state representatives. Didn't get a chance to really say much about Stephanie Bolden because I was busy and I'm a little angry with the Democratic Party, but the same stuff, I'm trying to be appropriate, the same stuff is going on where she has someone running against her because they want to push her aside. This young man decided he's going to put his age and her age on there as if to say she's old. Ain't nothing old about Stephanie Bolden. She still has all of her wit. She still show up where she needs to show up. She still fights for the little people. She's still making sure that we are represented in a very, very strong and positive manner. But yet this is what's going on in the Democratic Party right now. So what I want to do in the next couple of minutes that I have left is I want to endorse, and I want to say it slowly, let you see these pictures and see precisely what they're running for. I want to start with the city council. It's important, in my opinion. I don't have to sell Coby Owens for the 1st District. We know that the establishment and appointments is in full effect. The establishment and the appointment, it's in full effect. We know it. It's very clear. Coby is a part of the grassroots movement. When there's a racism case going on, he's right there getting a bad name for himself by other communities. When things are going wrong in the community, he's right there, and he's never served in a capacity of an elected position other than the things that he does, whether it be on the committee, the Democratic committee level and things of that nature. Coby's life is about service. And I don't want to give the personal bio of all these people, but 1st District, if you're watching today, I understand there's certain loyalty we have to certain people, and there's certain vendettas. Certain people want to get back at. The FOP put out nasty literature. Discard all of that. And let's vote to show that my vote matters. Coby Owens, I think, would be an excellent choice. I embrace him. I endorse him for the city council, for 1st District of the city council in the city of Wilmington. And then they have that at large. This council have been very much docile, haven't been much produced, a lot of favors and things of that nature. And I'm not saying every council member, because we have some excellent council members who I support 100%, but then we have some bad people in there who are not doing anything but just going along to get along. I think it would be wonderful if we wake up on Wednesday morning and Wayna Dobson has been elected from the Democratic Party as being a councilwoman at large. Wayna has given her life to the service of people, and that's important. I think it would be excellent if we wake up and find that Letitia Bracey is our new city council at large elected. She was appointed, she jumped in, and she went to working. And regardless of what some have tried to say about her, she is a woman who understands system, administration, process, and she knows how to work to make things happen. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we woke up Wednesday morning and find out that Alex Hackett had won the city council at large? Young brother, out on the battlefield, out on the street, doing what he has to do to bring peace, showing by example what it looks like to be a part of a community that you want to represent, who have put together his agenda based on the grassroots of what is happening in our community. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we woke up and had that slate of city council members at large, where it's fresh, it's new, creative, well-educated, well understood, ones who have already served their community. Then we move to what I call the county exec. I have not did a lot of talking about Marcus Henry, but I want to say this. I knew his mother when I first came to Delaware, and she has been a star for me. She has done so many wonderful things to support Zion Fair, even when we were not popular. But moving past that to look at his life, he served in the administration in the county. He gave up a lucrative position in order to come and serve us. It's not about the establishment. It's about the grassroots. It's about the people who have been there, who will fight for you, who understand what you're going through. If we continue to do, Mom Mabley said this, what we've always done, we'll continue to get what we always got. I think Marcus Henry would be the great example of leadership for our county. Some of the things that we're still trying to work out, the kinks and things of that nature. He understands process. He's worked there. And he has nothing on his record that will cause him not to be qualified. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we woke up and saw that even though there was a person who was competing against Stephanie Bolden, that she won. She won again. This will not be the first time that she had to come up against a trouble, that she had to meet squarely face to face, where she had to lift her chin and set her shoulders and take a brace, because she understood that it was vain to try to dodge it. She did the best that she could do. She has been there for us. She has supported us. She has been a friend to this community, not just her district, because I'm not in her district. Our church is not in her district, but she has been a friend down in Dover, working on those very powerful committees, making sure appropriate appropriations have been appropriated appropriately. It's important. And I hope that we wake up on Wednesday morning and hear the announcement that Stephanie Bolden has certainly won the race. Then we move to the lieutenant governor. See, I have a whole lot to say about this. Sherry Dorsey Walker is a friend, has always been a friend. When she was in the city council, she worked her way up, but never was a part of the establishment. She was always grassroots. She was always the person who heard and then went to working. If there was an issue with rent, she went to working. If there was an issue with people incarcerated, she went to working. If people, men who did not have the ability to get a second chance because their license were taken and things of that nature because of child support, she went to working. And I want you to understand, it's not about establishment. It's not about a person telling you should vote for someone because they've been around. No, vote for people who have been on the ground helping communities like ours. That's important. And that's critical for a moment that we're living in. Sherry Dorsey Walker, it would be wonderful to wake up on Wednesday morning and see that she has won lieutenant governor. Yes, she'll be the first black woman to win. Yes, she would be the first one out of Wilmington, but that's not important. What's important is she'll be the first to win who was from the grassroots, who made sure the community that was marginalized, the community that was degraded and belittled is now going to be represented. People who would not get pardons because of the color of their skin will now have a chance to get pardoned if they so rightfully deserve it. It would be wonderful to wake up on Wednesday morning and see that Sherry Dorsey Walker had won. Finally, it's the governor one. I don't have anything personal against Stephanie. I try not to say people's names, but I am refusing to just go with the flow. People I respect highly and still respect highly. We just have a difference of opinion when it comes down to the next governor. If we want to move in a direction that the people on the grassroots level can feel, not the high and a flute and the high and mighty, but the people who are on the streets could feel the impact of the governor's office. I believe that Matt Myers will be that person. Matt Myers started out as a teacher. Yes, there were some rumors of this, that, and the other, but honestly, this is what people do when they try to stop power. Matt Myers is that person. And you can say, Pastor Curry, we hear you, and you're giving us your opinion, and that's all I'm giving you. But I believe that Matt Myers would be the one to help those on the grassroots level, those who are down, who are not recognized, who have been marginalized. If you want to feel empowered, if you want your children to feel empowered, Matt Myers would be that person. And I refuse to allow a Democratic Party that I pay money into, that I am a part of, to continue to push the narrative that when you pay your dues, regardless of how you live, character counts. We're trying to tell people not to vote for Donald Trump, but vote for Harris because his character is so egregious. How dare we be hypocrites? And we say character matters for Donald Trump, but it does not matter for candidates that we want to support in the Democratic Party. Right is right and wrong is wrong. This is called common sense. Let us have common sense solutions to the world that we live in today. I hope you really took time to listen to me today. 2 days you will be voting. I would love to wake up and see Coby Owens, Tish Bracey, Alex Hackett, Wayna Dobson, Michelle Harley. I would love to wake up and see Stephanie Bolden and Sherry Dorsey Walker and Marcus Henry, as well as Matt Myers, the next candidates for the offices that they're running for. And not only candidates, but then now elected by the people who are part of the Democratic Party. Until the next time we get together, may the Lord God bless you real good.
You've been watching The Source with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Coby Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.